Good evening and welcome back to another episode of the 1911. Joining me tonight, we've got Ewan, Chris, and Ian, our little beloved makeshift Bradford City fan that's from my neck of woods down here. So, it's been a while, boys. It has been a while. A bit of a hiatus. But that's by the by. We're going to crack on. So we've got the last 3 months, we've been away a fair bit, and we've had a really good. Well, I say really good. It's been a bit topsy turvy. We had a good December, but prior to that, it were a bit rocky, and performances dropped off a little bit. Don't you think?
Yeah, I'd like to point out that as soon as we stopped podcasting, we started playing really badly. So you'll be glad that we're back now, so we could start playing this smooth attacking football that we saw at the start of the year. But no, I think you're right. I think after sort of Cardiff, probably away, we just saw a bit of a change in how we're playing. Maybe more so that teams had kind of figured out how we wanted to play. We wanted to press high and attack with the wing backs, and that's why we've seen sort of a resurgence to the football of old that we remember Alexander for in League Two, maybe.
Yeah, it's been a difficult 3 months, really. I say that, but we do keep
We are
turning out
so
those
spoiled. Yeah, we are so spoiled. We're third
Yeah,
in the
we
table,
are.
lads. Come on.
Yeah, totally. And there's been games where we haven't particularly performed amazingly well, but we've managed to get the victory. I'm looking at kind of like your Blackpool games. There's been a couple at home, Port Vale probably as well. He's probably up there as well. So it's yeah, I don't know. It's just been such a strange season that you're almost kind of disappointed. Weirdly, even though we're in third position, just feel that if we could get that form back that we had at the beginning of the season, the really exciting football that we were playing, that maybe we could push on. We still can. We still can. January. Listen, January's an interesting month for us. Totally is. Obviously yesterday, but we'll go into that later on. It is going to be a very interesting month. It'll define our season, I believe, and also I think what else we'll do is obviously who we bring in and who we let go.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely go into that in a bit. But do we think then that I say it's not really a rocky patch because, like you say, we're third in league and everything. But do we think that Alexander's changed his approach to games, or is it the players are just burning out? Because at the start of the season, we had this massive, high-intensity press and we kept it going for a good 60, 70 minutes, guaranteed every game. And now it just seems to drop off after 10 minutes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure. You can't really pin it to anything why we've stopped playing that way, but you can link it to sort of a lot of players' forms, I suppose. We've seen players drop in and out of form quite a lot this season. You look at Nerfville, who started the season so strongly, as now he's still obviously playing quite well, but he's seriously dropped off in terms of his numbers and his output as well. And again, that allowed Halliday that glimmer of hope to come back into the side, and that's why he saw so many game minutes. Same for Swan, who couldn't seem to stop scoring at the start of the season, and now is a bit part player was hooked at half time against Cardiff. Shall we bring in our resident stat man, Ian, and see what he can say about what he thinks Bradford have changed over the last sort of 3 months?
I can't do that to me. I'm not ready for stat man. I am looking at the football website at the moment right now. They're looking at kind of what is happening with the Bradford City team. The way we're playing, like I say, I'm not going to be all over this. I've been watching kind of bits and pieces, doing a lot of YouTube highlights, which doesn't really help. So looking at the stats though, where you are, they're all pretty much this, aren't they? They're all pretty much where they were stat wise. It's just the team in general are performing differently. Have they worked out? That's something that you lot can actually look at. Have they worked out, Andy? You're the one who's saying that you think teams have figured Bradford out, or is it the fact they're just tired? You're looking at the new players they're bringing in. Is that going to make a difference?
The new players should make a difference, but whoever they are that come in, the two obviously will go into it in a bit. But I don't know. I don't know whether it's the fact that they're being found out. I do think it is down to just pure legs, or maybe a change in mentality or something. I don't know. There shouldn't be a reason, because at the start of the season, we go pre-season to Austria, and the fitness regime that Alexander has for him, these boys should be able to do that for a good 60, 70 minutes every game, week in, week out, without fail. Granted, we've had lots of injuries, players in and out of the team, but I do think it is purely down to a work rate issue. I don't think it's the fact that we're being found out as such, and the lack of diversity in how we play, as I feel, hampered us a bit. Like with Josh, you say his form's gone off, but what service has he had recently?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I'm talking about his form dropping off, I mean, this was a player who got an assist basically every other game at the start of the season, or at least a goal. I mean, I remember I was at Rotherham, the 2-2 draw in early October, and he had a stinker. He was absolutely awful. He was ripped apart defensively, but he still came away that night with an assist, and that was the sort of performances that he was having up to that point, where he would his ability and his match rating might differ how he performed, but he'd still walk away with his head held high because he had got an assist or he had contributed massively. He hasn't contributed massively recently, which is why Halliday has dropped in and out. I'm not slandering him or anything. I'm just saying I think you could probably hold every player or a lot of the players to that sort of standard that, you know, they were churning out these great performances and now we're not. It's hard to put your finger on. A theory that I had might have been that, you know, it is easy to play football in the nice sunny August and September when it's not teeming with rain and it's not freezing. But the nitty gritty of the season, you know, 4 months, 5 months of the season happens in misery. It happens in the cold, dark games, even your 3 o'clocks ending in darkness. It's cold, you know. I'm not giving the players a leg to stand
They
on
should
because
be used to be
exactly,
playing in cold,
exactly.
like,
You can't. That's some Arsenal fan TV rubbish, isn't it? Like it's.
Would you not think? Would you not think the other team's expectations of playing a newly promoted team would have been a bigger factor, where they come in expecting to turn over a team and then they come up against a really strong, really well organized defensive team that could hit them on the counter and the pressing, which they maybe weren't expecting?
Yeah, I think that's really it. I think that the fact that we came up, a lot of teams when they first started playing us at the beginning of the season, I think they tried to play against us, and we loved that. We reveled on that, and I do think that really did help our confidence a lot with a lot of the games. And people underestimated us, and they're always going to do that. Certainly at the beginning of the season, where you know you're a new team, nobody really knows much about you, but you've just come up from League Two. You've only just got up from League Two. Not slandering that, by the way. It sounds like I'm being negative. I'm really not, but I'm just thinking about what the other teams might be thinking about Bradford City. And I think we shocked a lot of people with the way that we played. And I think that is ultimately what kind of happened. We loved playing teams who would attack us and probably expected towards the beginning of the season to beat us. I think that respect has totally changed. I think people actually now do. Teams do kind of look at us now and go, okay, this is Bradford. They're third in the table. They haven't gone away. And I think that is something that is ultimately we definitely have to look at, and is potentially also a reason why that free-flowing football isn't there anymore.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Look, boys, we could go on about this all day. But by the by, we're still third in the league.
Yeah, we've been so negative. We've been negative for about 10 minutes here. You know,
we're living dream. Nobody, barring me, thought we'd be anywhere near this sort of position at the start of the season. So, like,
what did you predict, Andy? I don't think you've mentioned it before.
I don't know. Something like we'd be there or thereabouts, I think. And then I was called deluded on BBC Radio, might I add, by a certain someone. So, you know,
I don't know who that person is.
So let's move on, right? So we're fast forward a few months. We've hit January. Start of this January transfer window. We've lost what could be considered a nucleus of the squad environment in Andy Cook, Brad Halliday, Pato. How are we feeling about that? Is it good business? Is it the right business?
Pato was definitely the right business because he hadn't played a massive part this season, and when he did, he got injured. I will always love him for turning up for the. Was it the Huddersfield game he turned up to and he shaved his head, or was it a different game? I can't remember, but he was bold the last time he played for us, I think. And
Was that not the Barnsley game and then he got injured?
yeah, and he definitely got injured in the same match. Yeah, and it was early on as well, about 15, 20 minutes in. I can't remember which game it was, but yeah. I think it's a good move for him, obviously, and the club as well, because we have got options now in the centre of the
I think
park.
with Pato is in it, right? On his day, cracking footballer, love the man pieces, made of glass. That's his issue. He spent more time out on the injury table than he did on pitch, and it's not something that's really sustainable when it comes to what is now turning into a very serious promotion push.
Yeah, I think that there's no denying the fact that Pato did get injured quite a lot. If you remember, I think it was his first season where he was out for 6 months, 7 months with an injury, and you kind of thought, right, that's probably the end of him. He'll probably get released at the end of the season. Had 2 reasonably decent seasons. Has certainly, as you said, been a bit part player this season. We haven't seen much of him. It's for me, going back to your point as well, kind of like about these players and whether it was the right time. Yeah, I think it was the right time. There's no time for sentiment in football. Okay. And the thing is, at the end of the day, if Cookie isn't getting into the squad, he isn't at all. And Alexander doesn't think that he's there and he's fit enough to play. Sorry, not fit enough, but has the ability to play in this league, then we've got to go with that. We're sat in third place, and I know it sounds like we were really negative earlier on, but we are sat in third position with this team and with the formation that we're playing, with the players that we've got in, and that side of it, you've got to go with what the manager says. Halliday obviously is a little bit disappointing, but by the sounds of things, he wanted to go. He was probably ready for a new challenge anyway. Was Halliday, so great servants of the club. They'll never, they'll always get respect from me, but football's ruthless at times, and you can't have. You've got to move on.
No, I agree with the sentiment of it and everything, and like with him going and everything, it is the right thing for the club for us to move forward. But I have got a concern that it is like they were kind of like the characteristic spine of last season. They carry so much weight. They know what it's like to go into the trenches. And I feel like there were big presences of sort of like the Alexander way.
Yeah, but that's not a reason to keep them in the team or to keep them in the squad, is it? At the end of the day,
no. I'm not saying that it's slightest, mate. No, what I'm trying to get at, I think, is have we ripped too much out of that squad at once?
No, I don't think so. No, I totally get your point. But I think going back to what Chris was saying, we don't know what Alexander sees out on the training pitch, and I think the Halliday one is the most disappointing for me because he was the one who was actually he got game time. In November and December, he came back into that team and looked really strong. And it looked like if you've been following the football club for 3 years, you know that Halliday has killed every right back that has ever tried to challenge for his spot in the team. The amount of loans or signings that we've made in that position that have been backup or possibly future replacements, he's killed every single one of them, absolutely stone dead, and he's been a mainstay in the team, Mr. Consistent, Mr. Reliable, and it is disappointing to see him go. But like you say, I think with all the players, the time felt right for me.
No, that's fair. So you've got Halliday's gone. That leads us straight on to what I probably see as his replacement, Joe Ashby from Newcastle. No, is it Joe Ashby?
Harrison Ashby.
Harrison Ashby.
You've confused the two Newcastle boys. Yeah.
Jesus. It's been a long couple of days, boys. I'm knackered, right? They looked a bit saucy yesterday. I quite liked them. I think it's a shame they're on loan because I'd like to see them for longer than the 6 months that we've got on based on that one performance. Ashby looks like he's got something else. He should be playing a league above. I think we beat championship clubs to his signature as well. So for me, I think that's really good business.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say, I'm so frustrated that they've taken all these players out of the team. Well, let's go replace them then. Let's not wait for the sentimental fans to pull us to pieces. Let's go out, replace them. Let the players show that they're going to be willing to take up the mantle of these players that they're replacing. And Ashby definitely did that yesterday when he played against Cardiff. For his little cameo of sort of 20, 15 minutes, he looked brilliant. His first touch was fantastic. Every time he got the ball, he was running forward. He looked really solid defensively. He wasn't afraid to get stuck in. He looked really good going forward as well. There's so much to look forward to, I think, with him. Joe White was a little more anonymous, but in that sort of game, it's hard to stamp your impact as an attacker. He did, though, make a fantastic take one for the team tackle, though, on halfway, which brutal tackle. VAR might have given that as a red, but they both look good. And obviously Sibley, who's coming as well on loan from Derby, had a little worse of a performance in my opinion, but that seems to actually,
convinced.
that seemed actually to be a controversial opinion on social media. But I think that was mostly because Tyreek Wright had such a poor game. We'll move on to dissecting the Cardiff game in a bit, but look, we've got probably two more players, I think, to come in this window. And you'd expect one of them to be a number 9. And there's been hundreds of names floated about. And it's up to the club to, I think, find that little bit more money to pull the trigger and get us across the line. Because this is a big moment for the club to reach into the pocket and say, well, there's a real good chance of us getting promoted here. We could go back to back. So is the time right to get a deal across the line?
Does he dump that investment into it though? Does he?
Yeah,
does
exactly.
he throw it all
That's
into
the
one
question.
basket? Because if he does, I was saying this in our group chat a few weeks ago. If he throws everything into this season, and we don't go up, is that gonna make us a mid-table League One team for the foreseeable? Is that gonna take that income from future transfer budgets?
I think you've got to also look at this League One table, at League One this season, and say that it is a poor season. Almost anybody could go up from this league. Look at the mid-table; it's so close everywhere. I think I saw someone was talking about Burton earlier on that. I think they're at second bottom. Sorry, the 5th, 6th bottom, and they would be 7 points clear at this point of that relegation zone. It's all very, very clustered. You've got Peterborough, who were bottom of the table, 2 months ago, who are now playing in the playoffs or about to get into the playoffs. I think that for me, I think I'd like to see us go for it, but not take massive, massive risks. I guess the one thing that we have been very, very good at in the last few years, with whatever's gone on, we have been very, very good with what money we can spend. I personally think that if that right person comes through, then we need to go for that. We have to have a number 9. We need a number 9. But
Is that a loan? Is that a loan or a transfer?
I think it depends on who the player is. Again, this is a proper pipe dream, and I mentioned this to you boys yesterday. And I'm not saying that this will happen, but somebody like a Macaulay Langstaff would be the perfect player. I don't expect that will happen, but someone like that, and even if it was on loan till the end of the season, I'd be really happy with that. But I know that the chances of that are probably incredibly slim.
Yeah, is it though? I mean, we are getting that pull in where we are beating championship sides to signing certain players. People are seeing things that are happening at Valley Parade. We're becoming quite an attractive proposition for anyone. To be fair, because you've got the crowds, and you've got a club that seems to be on an upward trajectory. Is it really out of the realms of possibility that you could attract someone like a Langstaff in, or even maybe a Jatter or something daft like that.
And with the playing style that Graham Alexander's got there, do you think that's suitable for Premiership teams to think, I want my young player to go there, play that high press, because that's what they're expected to do when they get into the big leagues. And it is a bit more rough and tumble in League One. So
But having watched us, play, do you think that's genuinely how we play now? Because I don't think, with how we played yesterday against Cardiff and how we have been playing for the last 3 months, that you can expect a Premier League striker like, I don't know, an Ethan Wheatley to come in and be able to deal with all these balls that have been lumped towards him. I mean, Humphreys is a big guy, and I know we talk about his work rate, but he should be able to win a few headers, and he's dealing with scraps constantly, and he's a big physical guy. How is a 20-year-old, 21-year-old striker who's coming in on loan going to deal with that sort of service? And can they be impactful? Is that what City need?
I mean, from a big club looking to pass a player down, that's kind of what you'd want. And you want to experience the rough and tumble of League One. Me seeing like 2 games against Cardiff City is probably the worst 2 games to watch for that, because Cardiff are a step above, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're not your average team in League One. But yeah, I think that a big club looking to have a player get experience of dealing in a man's game, stepping up from a youth kind of setup, I think that'd be a good shout. And especially one that is playing the right football. But you guys watch them out every week and are more in tune with League One than me.
It is. Go on, Chris.
Sorry. I think it's a good point. I think that is. I think if I was a Premiership team, the fact that we're near the top of the table, if the Ethan Wheatley thing is true as well, we would be taking him from a team that are lower down the league. Maybe that's exactly what's happened right there. If that deal comes through, I mean, obviously it's been rumoured heavily, whether that deal comes through. But I think you've got a fair point there. I do think that if you are a Premiership team, you are probably looking at a team like Bradford and thinking this would be great for progression with the style that we play. I mean, we are crying out for that position more than anything, I think. I just don't have huge faith in Will Swan, unfortunately. I know that his stats are that I think he's like shots on target and scoring goals is ridiculous. But I just don't think he's quite that player. Humphreys frustrates the life out of me because of the fact that he's a left winger and he always seems to want to go to that position. I think we just need a natural number 9, someone like an Andy Cook. So, but we obviously, I mean, I'd like someone with a bit of height as well in that position. I think with you talking about the balls going over into the box, I think that someone with a bit of height would actually do really well in this team.
Yeah, because I don't think necessarily you need the player in that position to be prolific, to be all they need to be is a focal point. They don't need to score as many goals as Andy Cook did in his time with Bradford. They just need to be that outlet, because if you can get that player in tune with everyone else around them, everyone thrives. We know it. We've seen it before. The wide forwards that we use in the system would have a field day with a striker that can nod balls down, bring them into play like that. I think just a poacher and a focal point is exactly what we need.
What about if we don't make any signings, just throwing cat amongst pigeons a bit, and he changes up the system to up top?
I don't really want him to change the system because I think it works well with all the players we've got. I think 3 at the back with the wing backs suits us really well. It's definitely suiting all our centre backs at the moment, to the point where the performances of Baldwin and Tilt and Torre at left centre back are keeping Joe Wright out of the team, who's been phenomenal for us, one of our most consistent performers this season. I think the wing backs that we have in the team now, Nerfville, Harrison Ashby coming in as well, even Tyreek Wright to a certain extent. It's good that we play with these wing backs because they are the heartbeat of the team, and the duo as well of Metcalf and Power in midfield has been working really well so far. I don't think we need to overreact here, because if you're Graham Alexander, you're looking at that table and the form and how we bounce back from defeats, and you're going, well, is there a problem here? Because all we need to do is keep winning. I know, obviously, we have said in the past that performances will catch up with us, and they have done. But every time that happens, we bounce back. I wouldn't be worried about it too much. And you're absolutely right, though. There will be a definite thought from the management and, of course, Stefan Rupp that don't sign anyone. We are in a good position because if we go up and we've already spent our money, we will go straight back down. So why not try save every penny? Because if we do go up, then we might stay up. Might.
It'd be tough it's going to be a tough season next season if we do go up. Now, there's some serious money involved in going up to the Championship. I think TV revenue for like League One alone is like a couple of mil to the club, but you go up to the Championship, you're talking 10, 11 mil in the bank before you've even kicked the football. So that it's not so much the sort of like the fund. It's not the funding if we go up that I'm worried about. It's if we overspend now and we don't go up, are we going to be subjected to mid-table League One for the foreseeable because we can't inject any more money into it, or Rupp won't want to inject any more money into it after throwing the kitchen sink at it. I think that's what my sort of semi-worry is. And the reason I brought up the two up top is whenever we go along and we stop playing football and we start just lumping it, going along, there's no one ever around Humphreys or Swan to even attempt to get onto a flick on. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah, because the point is that the reason why Humphreys can't play out wide, and Alexander keeps saying we will never play him out wide, is because he wants the inside forwards to do work defensively. He wants them to track back, and Humphreys won't do that. He doesn't have the work rate, and frankly, I don't think he's interested in defending. Which is fair enough. If I was a forward, I wouldn't want to defend either. So, in that case, yeah, if you play two up top, you've already got, say we were just playing 4-4-2. You've got your four midfielders who are going to defend, but your strikers can drift further wide, which I think might suit Humphreys. But I think, there's too much risk from changing everything, from ripping it up with your players that are already playing so well in this system. To change everything, I think, would be a huge gamble, more so than signing a striker.
That's fair. Well, we do digress. So yesterday, myself, Ian came up to Valley Parade for the very first time. He enjoyed the delights of Bradford. We went to the game. We had a curry. We had a few beers, and we got back earlier on this afternoon. And so I'm going to start with you, Ian. What were your thoughts on Valley Parade?
It was the whole thing, wasn't it? It wasn't just Valley Parade. Like I say, we were walking around the town before the game, and like I say, just Bradford's really welcoming. Like I say, I obviously sound a bit different, but yeah, nobody had an issue with that. Nobody understood what I was saying, but yeah, nobody had an issue.
Literally translating for you.
Yeah, you were translating for me at one point. Yeah, so yeah, the whole town itself, and like it was so geared up, and everything was very community based. And like I live near Cardiff, okay, and Cardiff is a very different prospect entirely. Like I say, it felt like a community going to the game, and like I say, the people everywhere was good. It was amazing. Going to the ground, like I say, the ground is really good to get into. It's got that old school stadium like vibe, whilst also being new in parts. And we were in the new bit, weren't we? So yeah, so it was just good. And like the game was I thought was really good. And like the score, if we get to the end of it, that could have easily been 2-2. And you look at the penalty shouts that got turned away, that could have been even different. But yeah, no, I thought it was a really good game. Like I say, Bradford City at the start of it was very end to end. Cardiff scored their 2 goals. I think the first one you've got no complaints of. Andy, you said they're chasing shadows. Cardiff are passing the ball around. There was someone in space all the time. Cardiff were an excellent team for 10-15 minutes, and they got 2 goals in that 10-15 minutes. And then they weren't an excellent team, which was a bit weird because they sat back and invited pressure on, and the game was pretty end to end in the first half. A lot of Bradford pressure towards the end of the first half, and the second half, I think we can argue that Bradford were the better team without too much complaints, I think. But yeah, the goal was what a goal, quality goal. I say because of Andy's seating choices next to Charlie, bless him. Yeah, right behind the goal where I couldn't see anything because I had to either stand up or like duck down to see because there's a crossbar in the way. Yeah, it was. I had to watch it again. It's a quality goal, isn't it? But yeah, it was a solid game. Like say your new players, there was energy there, excitement. Who's your left winger you guys weren't happy with? Blonde.
Which
blonde
one?
Blonde guy. Second half sub.
Louis Sibley.
Yeah, I thought he was all right. You think about like what Cardiff were doing at the time. They were sitting back on a 2-goal lead. They had no reason to push forward. I may have suggested that your left back Tory I didn't think was up to much, and I got shot down by everybody. Everybody says he's quality, so I'll accept that because, like, say, I'm watching Bradford play against the best team in the league. Okay, so you know I felt that there was maybe a lack of ideas when he got the ball, and yeah, like his cross bounced before he hit the 6-yard line. It was like, but no. So yeah, it was a really good game. Like I said, I thought there were a lot of positive performances. You think that you're then against the best team in the league, and you can argue that you were the better team for at least half the game. So yeah,
I think second half you're right. You're bob on. You are right, and I'm not sure what good you saw in Sibley. I'm not gonna lie.
We were a long way away.
I'm really not
debate.
I'm really not convinced on him though. I just there's something about it.
But you're looking at him playing against the best team in the league, sitting back in the second half. It's not a fair game to like make any kind of real judgments on. I think. But he was having a go, and he was trying to think. And the first half, nobody was doing that.
I think you're right, and it's a massive debate at the moment. A lot of people thought he played really well, and a lot of people thought he was terrible. I think there was a couple of times where his touch really did let him down, really badly, and I think that people are probably remembering that a little bit too much. For me, I didn't think he was horrendous. I thought he was all right. The other thing I do want to point out as well, he's not a left wing back.
Yeah, you tend to give him the benefit of the doubt because he was playing out of position. But I'm with you that even if you are playing out of position, I expect you to do the basics to be able to control the football. As someone who's got championship experience, I don't think he should be letting the ball run out like that, like he did multiple times. Again, I'm happy to give him the benefit of the doubt because when he came on against Blackpool, playing further forward on the left, I thought he was pretty good, and he offered something different. But then again, you could say exactly the same about Tyreek Wright, is that he looks better when he plays further forward rather than in the left wing back position.
I'd like to know what's going on with Tyreek because he seems to have reverted. Like he went through a little patch over Christmas where he seemed to be fearless. He wasn't scared to go past his man or anything, and he looked more like the player that we saw the first time round when we had him on loan. And I think yesterday he looked a shell of himself. He looked scared to try and do anything.
I think Tyreek's a confidence player. And I think that when things aren't quite going his way, then it really unsettles him and he really goes into his shell and he doesn't play to the best of his ability. You look at, for instance, how desperate he was to get that first goal. And when he got that goal, you could see how much relief was that he had when he'd scored that goal. But he is totally, absolutely a confidence player, is Tyreek. And if it's not quite going to plan and it's not quite going well, I think he really struggles with it. When he's really full of confidence and he is able to express himself, that's when you really see a really good Tyreek Wright. I mean, I think some of it has been a bit unfair on him, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he had the greatest of first halves. I think we can all completely agree on that. But I don't think he was absolutely horrendous by any stretch. He does always seem to be the boo boy. I will say that he does seem to have picked that up now. but he does need that confidence, and that's the problem. And I guess if fans are kind of slowly getting on him, not saying that this is the reason where his confidence comes from, but if he's getting fans on his back, I think that's when he really struggles.
I mean, he's not a left wing back. Like, it's no coincidence that his worst performances, as we say, sort of come against the teams who are really good on the wing, and will rip you apart. His defensive ability is not his strongest point. You need to play him as that left inside forward if he's going to have any success, I think. And that's where we've seen those good performances, is when he's been played further forward. I will admit that I am the president of the Tyreek Wright fan club.
Of course you are.
No, I jest. I'm not a massive fan of it.
Ash Taylor's your number
Ash
one.
Taylor's my number one. Yeah, I'm the president of that fan club. Me and my cousin. No, I'm not his greatest fan. I think there are players now definitely in this squad that I would prefer to see play on the left hand side. Bobby, obviously, you want to be playing on the left.
See, I thought he were a bit off.
He does go missing in big games sometimes. I know we said about Huddersfield early on in the season when obviously he had a brilliant game, but he does tend to go anonymous sometimes, and I hesitate to say he struggled with the step up to League One, but I might insinuate that. But now that Harrison Ashby is here, I would fully expect him to be playing off on the left with Nerf Phil on the right, because he played over half his games for QPR in the Championship there last season, and that is where I would want him. I'm not saying that he needs to start there next week against Huddersfield, but I think that would be a serious option going forward.
So what you're saying then, putting Torre next to, like, in the LCB, and then have Tilt and Baldwin?
I don't know, because I really like Joe Wright, and I think a lot of City fans would say that he needs to be in the team somehow. But there is a massive question. Exactly, there's a massive question, because you can't then say that, oh, well, Torre can go out to the left wing back, because that's not where he's been best this season.
No, I agree. Like, but where does Joe Wright come into it? Because you've got Baldwin, who on his day he's been our most consistent 40-yard pinger all season, and like yesterday when he put his body on the line, like, he's got that in him. And Curtis Till, well, he's just an absolute.
The right side is definitely locked down. I think that's his best position. Baldwin on the right side of the three, and then I'd have Wright in the middle, and then Tilt at left centre back where he started in the season, and then Torre at left wing back. I think he could recapture some of his early form, Torre at left wing back, but obviously I totally admit he's been better at left centre back.
So would you put Torre at left wing back then instead of Ashby?
I think Ashby can play understudy. I think he's a great option coming on late in the game. He's got legs, he's rapid, but he's clearly competent defensively as well. I think he's a great option to have. But obviously, when you've got players that are on full contracts at the club, you don't want to throw your lot in completely with loan players who, you'd have to say might not have the greatest of loyalty to your club. Or you're going to lose them.
Yeah, well, that's the other side as well, is that. But see, for me, I'd have Joe Wright on the bench.
I mean, that's totally fair. I mean, you can't argue that the Cardiff lineup was probably our strongest lineup.
I think it was pretty much as strong as it could be.
Yeah.
I mean, but for me, I think I would have Joe Wright on the bench. I do really like Torre in that left centre back position, and I think that Ashby going forwards is probably where we need to have those wingers. We need that pace out wide, and I think that's going to change it. I mean, yesterday when we're going back to yesterday, I think that we came across, we played the future League One champions. I don't think there's any question for me in the slightest. The team that we played against yesterday were absolutely brilliant. I thought they were so good. So yeah, I think for me, you can guarantee that Cardiff win this league unless they have some kind of catastrophic fall from grace or have about 1 million injuries. But yeah, for me, I think that they're the strongest team we played this season. And yeah, it was a frustrating game, but obviously a great goal from Jensen Metcalf. Absolute beauty, better than the one against Port Vale. But I think it's really important to also add that we did compete. And even though yesterday I was deflated about the game, I think when you're looking back on it, actually, we weren't totally out of it. There was one point where I was really worried at 2-0 whether we were going to get absolutely run apart and we were going to get absolutely hammered, but we didn't. And that second half, I thought we played really well.
Yeah, we were the better team in the second half, definitely. And yeah, I didn't walk away from the ground feeling deflated. I was happy with that second half performance, and I think on another day, possibly we could have drawn that had we been slightly more clinical or had a proper number 9. I think in the game, but we do have to move on, unfortunately. I am going to give you the actual, and then we'll move on to the Huddersfield game. I think. The other early kickoff was Wigan Bolton, and Bolton came out on top there in that Lancashire derby. Doncaster picked up their first win in about 700 years away at Wimbledon with a 90 added time winner. Barnsley got through Blackpool 2-1. Burton Albion beat Huddersfield 3-1, spelling the end of Lee Grant's time at the club. We'll come on to that later.
Gutted.
Absolutely gutted, yeah, shocker. Exeter beating Stevenage 3-0. They're on a bit of a slide now. Looks like they might have had their stint in the autos over. Leyton Orient running out 3-1 winners against Reading. Don Ballard scoring again. Luton picking up a 2-2 draw, coming from 2 behind against Lincoln. Mansfield winning against Port Vale 3-0. Northampton 1, Wickham 2. Peterborough losing 1-0 to Plymouth. They're on a real resurgence with Derek Adams now at the wheel. And Stockport 3, Rotherham 2.
Derek Adams at the wheel. Well, he's in the background.
He's in the background, isn't he? Yeah.
And obviously awards for the greatest own goal I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, at the Stockport Rotherham game. If you haven't seen it, please do go watch it. We won't spoil it too much, but it's a horrific clearance gone wrong, isn't it?
Absolutely horrendous.
Absolutely.
No, to be fair, the results yesterday didn't entirely go against us, so it was quite all right. We're still third.
Yeah, and we've got a game in hand as well.
We've got a game in hand. You've got Stockport breathing down us next on 45 points, Bolton on 42, and Huddersfield at 39 points. So we're still well and truly in the mix. We're only 3 behind Lincoln with a game in hand over them. So,
and with obviously Lincoln to play in 8 days' time.
Exactly. But before that, we got to get rid of some stray dogs. New manager bounce back. Is it going to bite us in the arse?
Who's it coming in for them? Is it Liam Manning that is the?
There's yeah.
So
the early rumours so far is Manning is obviously, and if anybody doesn't know who he is, he was at Bristol City last season. Norwich brought him in, paid quite a bit of money for him, and got sacked after about 3 months this season after having an absolute hideous start with Norwich. Which they're actually now on a bit of a resurgence under Philippe Clement.
Yeah.
And so he's one, but also Scabala, Lincoln as well. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see who gets it.
What do we think then for next week? Are we going to have bounce back like we've been saying? We've got plenty. We've been bouncing back from defeats quite well this season, whereas in previous years we'd probably crumble and go on a bit of a losing run. Do we bounce back? Are we going to beat them?
I'd back us to not lose. I will get that out the gate straight away. I think we can win, and we might probably win, but much like the Bolton game away, where we went into that one going, we're playing so poorly at the moment, can't string 2 passes together. But I think everyone went into that backing us to sort of put a stop to it, or at least, hold on for a 0-0, which is exactly what we did. We were awful in the first half. We let them run all over us, but in the second, we came out and tried to play some football, and we could have walked away with a win in the end, with a really late Lapsley chance that he should have buried. I'd back us to not lose. The Huddersfield fans are convinced they're going to lose, but they're winless in 4, I think, in League One. 2 draws and then 2 losses in a row. But you never know. New manager bounce could really favour them, but I'd hope that we can go there and do them over. I hope so as well, because I'm going. So I'd like to think that. Yeah, I'd like to think that we win.
It would be nice. So I'm gonna press you all then for a quick prediction. Can't even get my words out. So what we thinking then? I'll start with Ian.
3-0. Easy.
Oh,
Confidence. It's all about positivity, boys. Positivity.
We did say this yesterday, didn't we? That if when you came on the pod, you were going to be the most positive person out of all three of us. So,
It's the Yorkshire Derby, isn't it? I am seeing a City win. I will caveat that with I have been saying all season you get a point on the road and win your own games, you're going to be there or thereabouts. So I'll be happy with a point. But I am going to go 2-1 City.
I'm going to go 2-2.
Miserable git. I'm going to go 3-1, exact same as in September.
Do you want to get off the fence, Chris?
No, I think 2-2. You've just literally just said a point away from home.
I know, but a draw is just a cop out, isn't it? In a prediction, a draw is a massive cop out.
I'm going 2-2.
Disgraceful behaviour. Disgraceful. Well, it's been a pleasure, and it is only like a quick one tonight, lads. Just to get back into the swing of things. So I do want to thank you for coming on, Ian. Thank you for the invite. We will definitely be taking you back up to Bradford, and hopefully you'll see a victory at Valley Parade. That'd be nice. Cheers, Chris.
In the championship.
Maybe. Thank you very much, Ewan. And
Pleasure.
join us again for the next round of 1911. Thank you.